Well,
Yeah.
welcome everybody. I'm so excited that y'all are here and that you're interested in building passive income and revenue on Instagram because this has lit a fire for me recently and I'm really excited about the potential on Instagram. And I mean, if you're not too familiar with my background, when I graduated college, I started doing sales for a company that made underwater camera and lighting equipment because I went to film school, but I knew I didn't want to make films. So I moved to San Diego and there was no like film happening in San Diego.
Hmm.
And so I got this job because I knew all the technical aspects of lights and cameras. And they had nobody doing marketing. And it was a hot mess express, our marketing materials. Everybody was creating their own. There was no cohesiveness, no branding. And I didn't learn this stuff in college, but I just started taking it over and making technical sales sheets. And I taught myself coding and I was making like handwritten coded websites because back in 2004, there wasn't all of the easy tech there is today. And building email lists on Constant Contact and
Hmm.
that led me into a career of digital marketing and I started doing social media in about 2008 2009 for a Fortune 100 company and I built the entire department from the ground up. So I feel like my roots are in social media and relationship building and selling on social media. But I will tell you, never in that long history have I seen the opportunities that we have now on Instagram and even TikTok, which I haven't even started playing with yet, with the opportunities to go viral, to have your content seen. It's just the wild, wild west out there right now. And I've never seen anything like it before. So that's why I was really excited to put together this pseudo new offer. But it's really kind of what I was doing when I first started my business 7 years ago. So it's a bit of a full circle moment for me as well, because I started doing an social media agency when I started my business and teaching people how to sell on Instagram stories. So if you've been with me for a long time, you may even go back to tell your story. That was when I was in the program with Sarah. That's how I met Sarah because my coaches at the time, Sarah was in their program as well. And so that feels like eons ago, but it just is exciting for me. It's like a full circle moment to come back and look at Instagram with all the new features and the new algorithm and also a big shift in our industry as influencers, content creators, people who sell our expertise. There's a shift in that market where we used to do these big, extravagant launches that took weeks and if not months of prep work. And it was like, everything's riding on this launch, but I want to make, enough money to support me for the next 6 months or something. And we put all of this like blood, sweat, and tears, and then we launch, and hopefully we get the results we want. But more often than not, we don't, right? And that's just the truth of the matter. And then we're like scrambling and we're feast and famine mode and things like that. And I'm noticing this shift into monthly recurring revenue, passive income, and essentially really selling all of the time through your content. So I'm going to get into today like what I'm noticing. I kind of put it into a process and then I want to get into the details of how I'm applying this to my business. And we'll look at what are the components of a passive income funnel. And I want this to be really interactive. So I've got questions for you and also a promise that by the time you leave, you'll have one angle that you can use on Instagram to bring in sales like today if you wanted to use it, right? So that'll be really fun. And then at the very end, I'll share more about the program and what we're going to be doing together if you'd like to continue with me. And yeah, that's the plan. Sound good? Okay, let me bring up my notes. All right, my first question for you, and you can unmute or you can pop it in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with, is what caused you to show up today? So, what are you wanting to receive from our
Okay.
hourglass?
I've noticed that many people sell on Instagram or shifted from Facebook to Instagram. My
Yep.
main route is still Facebook. I'm currently not selling at Instagram at all. People hardly ever approaches me from Instagram, but a
Okay.
lot from Facebook.
Oh, good.
And so I'm not putting any effort on Instagram other than just posting whatever I'm posting on Facebook. You can post it on both platforms together. So I'm just posting it and that's it.
Yes.
I'm not doing any lives. I'm not investing in Instagram because nobody approaches me. So I'm not. But when I saw your email, I thought maybe this would be an opportunity to go deeper or to understand this platform better, or maybe there is a way that is worthwhile for me better than Facebook or Google
Okay.
to share my knowledge, to bring my value, and to generate eventually income. Okay, currently I'm
Perfect.
not generating any income on Instagram.
Okay. Perfect. So
That's me.
looking at adding a new marketing channel. So kind of here to see what the opportunity is and what's really involved.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anybody else
Okay.
want?
Yeah, so I am here because I'm a total newbie. As you know, I just recently started my business. I've never marketed anywhere, Facebook, Instagram at all. So I'm just really interested in starting with Instagram and seeing what happens and seeing how to share my message with people who want to hear it.
Yes, I love it. I love everybody new to Instagram because this is really going to be, I think, really supportive for you to know where do I need to focus on this new marketing channel and think of all of the time that you're going to save with these strategies, like these what working now strategies, rather than trying to spin your wheels figuring it out. So I'm glad you guys are here.
Yeah, I'd say I'm a mixture of both the other ladies as far as it's odd. I get a lot of people who or I get some people who find me through Instagram, but like my reels get viewed way more on Facebook.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know, but and then I have like my business, so my Instagram shares to my personal page, and I don't know how to change that. And but that could be something that comes down the road. But so yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to since I've been in business for a while, but I'm kind of starting a new vibe, a new energy, a new offering. And with that, I want to know the best way to use Instagram. Like, is it starting a new page that's just all about this new messaging that doesn't intermingle with my personal stuff
Yeah.
for clear connection to my clients? And then um, yeah, I want to do a digital product this year. I think I was saying that in our messages. So yeah, I want to use Instagram more efficiently. I would say yes, I've marketed there, but not like I'm ashamed to admit I never did your soul seductor or your sales seductress, but I
Yes.
loved the energy of that. I'm like, I have to go back. I mean, you're so hot. You like it's amazing. I was like, so
Oh,
yeah, that's what I want is, and I'm not just making that a beauty thing, but just like even the name of it was so great. And you seem to really be on fire with that. And so, and I don't understand Instagram and algorithms and all that. And it can be overwhelming because everybody's saying something different of what's working now. And I'm like,
yeah,
so
I know.
some clarity on where to start would be, to be more effective and have once I haven't created the digital product yet, but I'm working on that. So yeah, once I have that done, I want to be able to, market, of course, in the best way. So
Right. I love it. I love all of the questions that you're asking. One of the questions that you're asking yourself is a question that I was asking myself as well in the beginning of the year, which is, do I need to just start a whole new account because I have sort of this arm of my brand or my business or like stuff that I've already been doing, and I don't know if it's for the same person that this is going to be for. And I'll just tell you really quickly, I did start a new Instagram account called the Intuition Goddess. Um, but I realize now that I'm doing that account, I was really spreading my energy too thin from the two accounts. And so I haven't posted on there in probably like the last week, and it's sitting there on the shelf. I know maybe someday I'll have the bandwidth and capacity for it, but for me right now, I'm going to focus still on Jen Conger, but I had to kind of test it out. But when it comes to Instagram's algorithm, what I'm learning is that they're really starting to move into being an SEO, like a search engine, similar to like a Pinterest, I would say, because more
Okay.
people are searching for things on Instagram. And so what I'm going to be doing is having essentially seasons of my content. So right now I'm in a season of talking about passive income on Instagram. So you won't hear me talk too much about intuition and light team. And, I did one manifestation post because that was flowing through and I wanted to talk about it, but I want to be consistent with the messaging and the keywords and the content to train Instagram and show Instagram, hey, this is a chick that's teaching people how to sell on Instagram. And then when this wraps up and I've got my people, then I'll transition into whatever my intuition's guiding me into next. And then it'll be like that season, I'm really focusing on this kind of content. So we'll talk about that a little bit too in the process, but I just wanted to address that to help give you that clarity you're looking for. Hopefully that helps them.
Yeah, it's one of those things. 'Cause it's not like I have a ton of followers on my Instagram now. And do you do any personal posts? Not to get too off track, but do you do any personal posts on Jen Conger?
I tend to share more personal stuff in my Instagram stories. But it's really interesting that you asked that, because this morning when I was getting ready, I had this thought of being really vulnerable, being even more vulnerable and authentic and intimate on Instagram. And it would look like more personal stuff. And I'm like, is this an intuitive thought, or is this my ego coming in? Like, where is this from? But you know how I can kind of start to tell is my ego responded to that thought, because my ego responded to the thought by saying, don't do that. That's not safe. You're going to lose followers. People aren't going to, want to buy from you if you start sharing all this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that's probably an intuitive thought. And maybe I need to do that more. So I think I would like to add a little bit more personal stuff and behind the scenes of the inner workings of my brain and, my business and why I'm making the choices I'm making and things like that. But I would say we want it all to tie back to your brand and or an offer. I actually have this in my notes. And so where I would begin is, what are like 3 to 5 things that really describe my brand, my personality, that people can connect with, that's not necessarily tied to what I do. Like, for example, one of my coaches who I absolutely love, her name is Shannon Lutz of the Social Bungalow. She's really great. She always has like multiple beverages. She's like the multiple beverage queen. So she's always showing like the multiple beverages, or what is she drinking that day, or what's on her desk that day, and certain things like that show up in her reels and her content. Has nothing to do with who she is, but it's like, I can relate to that. Like, I'm like that too. So what are those aspects of you that get somebody to say, oh, I'm like that too. I like Sarah. She's like me. I want to follow her and I want to be more in her world. Right. So maybe start there and come up with a list of like, what are those personal things that I want to share that really speak to my brand and my values that people can connect with? And maybe there's some correlation to what you do, but there doesn't necessarily have to be.
Yeah, I get that. I like that.
Okay. And then I'm familiar with what you guys are all currently selling and how, because we've been talking about that. And then my next question for you is, what is your dreamiest monthly revenue goal? And you don't have to share it because I know that can be personal. And if it isn't a revenue goal, maybe it's just the number of people goal, you know, it's an impact goal. Maybe write that down for yourself. Like, this is my dreamiest monthly revenue goal. This is the goal that will help me cover my business expenses and my living expenses. Or this is the goal that will help me do that, plus start to save for this trip or be able to go do XYZ. And then I want you to imagine receiving that through Instagram and having a system and knowing every time I post a reel, I welcome 1 new client or 10 new people to my email list. And I can focus on creating consistent content, knowing that it's inviting people into my world, it's serving them, and it's getting people to say yes to deeper work with me. Like, that lights me up, imagining that. And opening to receive that. And then I want you to set the intention that you're going to walk away from this call knowing the one thing that you can do to make that possible for you. I love that. I felt that energy shift. So beautiful. So this is the system that I've come up with. That's like the secret sauce of Instagram. So if you want to take notes, we'll get into a little note taking. So it's 3 parts. The first part I call insights. The next part I call intimacy. And the third part I call income. So insights is your dashboard of all things Instagram data. So when you have a business or a creator account and you go to your profile page, you'll see underneath your link in bio, a link to go to your professional dashboard. And when you click on that, it's all your Instagram insights. They even call it insights. That's the word they use. So it's I, and it works. I like it. Alliteration. So we want to look at, what is the data telling us? Where are we at with followers and follower growth? How is that trending and tracking? Where are we at with reach? Are people seeing our content even if they don't follow us? If they do follow us, are they seeing our content? What is the engagement? Are they commenting? This is the thing that the algorithm, and nobody really knows, but this is what I believe to be true. And what I hear is that the algorithm is really looking at saves and shares nowadays. Comments, likes. I don't know. I don't think it's really paying attention to likes too much anymore. So we look at the data and we use that to influence where we move. What do we shift in the content? What do we start talking about? How do we amplify what seems to be resonating and repurpose that and keep doing that over and over again? And so we're always looking at the data to inform us on the strategy. And then the intimacy part is that, like I mentioned, authentic, vulnerable content that creates trust and develops into a relationship. So I think this is what's missing in the vast majority of content creators' content. And I'm guilty of this. It's really easy to go onto Instagram and see something that worked well for somebody else and be like, oh, I'll replicate that. Or like, oh, it worked for them, I'll do it, right? Or even if you're not consciously aware of being influenced by what you're consuming there. And so what I really love to challenge myself with and all of my clients with is, how do we pull out your unique viewpoint, your unique opinion, your unique message that we haven't heard from anybody else? Even all of the other people that do very similar things to you, how do we speak from your voice and show them the aspects of you that are unique to you? Because that's going to be more important than ever. I'm making the prediction on all social media channels because there is so much inauthenticity out there. And also with the market shift, our buyers are a lot more savvy. They've likely made purchases and investments in the past that they regret. So maybe they've been burned a little bit and there's buyer hesitancy, and we're seeing the customer life cycle get a little longer because it takes time now for people to trust to invest. And I feel the same way too. I'm like, I don't invest with anybody hardly anymore unless I've literally been following them for like a year or more. And I know exactly who they are, you know? And so we're seeing that. And the remedy for that is deep, deep intimacy and authenticity. So we're not using AI, you know, everybody's using AI, right, to write their captions and things like that. So we'll definitely use AI to support us, but the content's original. And then income. So this one's self-explanatory. So this is selling on the platform. One mindset shift that I made this year when I said I'm committing myself to being more consistent on Instagram is I sell every day. Because like I said, I was so used to that launching model where I only sold for like 2 weeks out of every quarter. And now I'm like, no, I sell every day. And the first thing I do when I sit down at my desk is like, how do I take a sales action? My first thing that I do today, how do I take a sales action? And I am shifting my mindset around my approach. And sales action is simply inviting. How do I invite somebody into something? You know, it's not pushy, it's not sleazy. It's just, how do I show up and invite, essentially? So either directly or through call to actions on my content. And then, of course, on the back end, when somebody's enrolled in something or they've signed up, they've given your email address, then we've got email nurturing that's set up that's helping guide them to a buying decision. So with those 3 pieces, like, where do we go from there? Like, how do we put that all together? And so that's where coming in with the passive income on Instagram funnel helps you to get those hot leads, those best soulmate clients to buy more quickly through your high value, authentic, and consistent content. So I want to get into the nitty-gritty details of that. But before I do that, any questions on those 3 pieces? They're
No
good.
question, but I'm really glad you said the thing about AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to use AI to like brainstorm and get ideas and stuff, or like, it's almost like its own search engine because it's going to tell you the amalgamation of like all of the things that are going on and like say, hey, here's the conversations that are happening everywhere in everything. So it helps for research purposes, but like, I don't want it to write my captions for me, you know? Yeah.
I haven't used it a ton, but it has helped bring in more juicy words and certain ideas that I can, even if I take it apart a little bit, it's brought in, some thought, like my voice, but a couple of different words and a couple of different angles that I hadn't found. So, but yeah, I'm resistant to it. So.
Right. I know. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have, let's see, 7 components here to the funnel, the income on Instagram funnel. So the first is your Instagram sales strategy. So we're not creating content for the sake of creating content and being consistent, but actually every reel, every post, every story is directly related to brand building. So this kind of talks about what you asked before, and or an offer. So we're looking at what are the components of the brand? What are the components of the offer? How are we tying that in seamlessly to everything that we're doing so that Instagram is a cog in the wheel of the whole sales system? The second piece is consistent content. So in my notes, I put it's 2024. There's never been a better time to be seen and heard on Instagram. And it's time to swap that 27-part launch email sequence and all of that launch prep for daily Instagram content. Because one thing that we do know for sure is that the algorithm favors people who are posting on the daily. And it just is what it is. I wish I could say, no, you only have to post like 2-3 times a week, but not if you want rapid growth, right? And looking at it as every time I post, this could be the one that goes really big, or every time I post, this could be the one that gets 10 new people subscribed to my email list. Like, it's like rolling the dice, you know? And it really is. It's like, I'm betting on this post today. Let's see where the roulette wheel lands. And actually, what I would love for each and every one of you is that hypes you up, that excites you, that it feels like, if you like gambling or betting, that it gives you that rush, you know? And that there isn't any attachment to the results or the outcome, but you're just really proud of yourself that you're creating habits around consistent content. The third piece is automation. So with automation, we're going to use ManyChat to convert leads into subscribers and buyers. So setting up a ManyChat automation and a workflow. So every time somebody comments with a specific word or phrase on a reel or a post, ManyChat then sends that person a DM and says, hey, thanks for your comment. I'm so glad you're interested in this. Is this something you want to do? And then they say yes to opt in. And then you've got automation. Perfect. What's your first name? Okay, great. What's your email? That's one automation. There's another one where you could send them to an opt-in page. You know, you could do pretty much anything and everything. I just went through somebody's automation yesterday. I was like, this is brilliant. I didn't even know you could do that. It was a quiz. And they're using ManyChat to walk people through like a 5-6 question quiz. And I kept hitting the answer. And then at the very end, it was like, oh, well, this is the training that you need. Or like, this is the course that you need. Or here, get started here with me. I was like, okay, this is brilliant. I want to build that one next. You know, so we're going to do that. We're going to build some ManyChat automation to support the sales system. The other reason why I love ManyChat is because it gives the energetic space of I'm preparing the table to welcome hundreds or thousands of people into my dinner. Because at first I was like, I'm not going to bother with ManyChat. I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to learn it. And it's only going to be a few people commenting and I can handle it. And so for the first couple of weeks, I wasn't using it. But then I noticed I really was having to check my phone like every hour for somebody, did they leave a comment? And then I'm like copying and pasting my reply. And I'm like, this is annoying. I'm just going to learn ManyChat. And it was actually really simple. And I noticed the energetic shift of, I just prepared the energy to welcome more people. Like I'm not going to have to babysit it anymore. So it's an energetic shift too there. The fourth piece is a link in bio storefront. So this is new on the scene. I first started seeing these last year. There's 2 companies that I've seen use them. Stan Store is definitely the most popular because that's what everybody's learning to use when they're joining these MRR products. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with MRR, but it's master resale rights. And they're teaching people how to become digital marketers and how to build passive income on Instagram and all of this stuff. And then once you buy that course, you then get to resell it and keep 100% of the profits. And I believe in those, they're teaching people to use StanStore. So I see that the most. But I also found a new one that I'm using called The Leap. And it's by Thinkific. And it's in beta mode, so it's free right now. And it's also pretty cool because it's got some AI in there that helps you build your course, which I haven't played around with yet. But I noticed Kajabi is doing that too. It's like AI that you enter in the name of your course and who it's for and some information about it. And then it like gives you a syllabus, basically. Like, here's what we would put in module 1 and 2 and 3. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. So those are 2 that you can look at. The 5th part is your freebie. So this is your lead magnet, your opt-in. And that is designed to take those cold Instagram leads, nurture them, build that know, like, trust factor, give them a small, quick win, and then convert them to clients within weeks on the back end with your email nurture sequence. And so I'm testing a little bit of pretty much every post is going to offer a call to action for a freebie. And now I'm going to start moving into paid low ticket offers, like maybe a $7 guide or a $7 meditation bundle or a $27 masterclass. That's probably what I'm going to be doing next in March, and play with direct selling on Instagram. So we can do that. And ideally you would have, this is where we talk about aligned offer suite. You would have then a very clear roadmap of how you guide people into deeper purchasing with you and into the next thing with you on the back end as part of like your whole sales system. So we can chat about that as well if we were working together. So I kind of gave away the next one. It is low ticket offers. So we've got, I call it your aligned offer suite. So these are offers that align together to guide a specific person from point A to B to C on their growth, their transformational journey. And inside that offer suite, we have downsells, we have upsells, we have add-ons. You know, we become the Amazon of our niche. And that's how we really maximize average order value, average customer value, customer lifetime value. And that's how you take your business from a 5-figure business to a 6-figure business and even upwards to a 7-figure business. It's all through that very cohesive and aligned offer suite. So we want to make sure that the Instagram funnel supports that and it's feeding people into the suite. And then we've got emails and other ways that we're nurturing them to move them from piece to piece to piece. And then of course, the last piece is selling. So really what we're doing when we say selling is we're simply inviting the people that you're meant to serve into deeper transformation with your help. And I would love for everybody to wake up excited about talking about your offers, the way you're helping people, the way you can help people every day on Instagram, and continuing to invite through your call to action and just seeing the exponential growth that starts to happen when you make that shift. And I truly believe that it's the fastest and most direct way to make sales right now. And I'm going all in on it this year. I'm not even playing with anything else. I'm going all in on that formula and that process. So any thoughts, questions on that deeper piece?
So processing all of this, if nothing else, the bare minimum is consistency and fine-tuning probably my brand, maybe while I spend this next month getting my freebie and then the low ticket and then upwards from there, kind of like, because I want to do all of this now, but really, if I sit here and spend all the time on creating a low ticket and I haven't built up consistency yet, like,
Right.
so do you kind of suggest like focusing on these in order, so to speak, right now, since I'm kind of starting my new branding from scratch?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be phases to this. And it's really interesting because the same question was brought up on yesterday's scaling session, which is like, what are the phases? Like, where do I start? So I would say the aligned offer suite component while you're creating consistent content, because that's just gonna like get the algorithm moving and shaking for you. It's gonna get it learning you. The algorithm needs to trust you that you're gonna be creating consistent, high quality content before it starts showing you on the search feed and things like that, the explore page. So we'll kind of simultaneously start to do both. And if there is a need for a freebie to be created, like we can do that, I think, simultaneously. And really what I've done too is taken a lot of what I've already created and repurposed it. So I'm not reinventing the wheel every single day when I'm posting something. And I also started smaller than that, saying if I post 4 times a week, that's going to be way better than what I've been doing before. And what's my bare minimum? Can I commit myself to 4 days a week? And let's just get this process down, and let's get comfortable creating that much content, and let's really look at and analyze how long it's taking me. And then you start to notice, like, here's some shortcuts, here's some systems, here's some processes, here's some things I can do to support me with being more consistent. And I would say that's phase 1. And then phase 2 is like, okay, can we add a little bit more? What does it look like to post 5, 6 times a week? Do we want to like keep it super simple on the weekends and like really focus Monday through Friday? What does that look like? And at this point now we're transitioning the content strategy to start to invite people into the freebie. And then on the back end, the people with the freebie, we want to be nurturing them and building that intimacy and that relationship. So checking, like, did they log in? If it's like I created a mini course, did they download it? Like, hey, what do you think? I've got some DMs going right now with people that opted into, it's the Meet Your Light Team bundle is what I created last month. And they're like, this is happening, or this is my experience. And they've got some questions. And so that further nurturing is happening too, which takes up more of your time, right? So it's all kind of like this time balance. And then next phase for me is starting to play with that direct to purchase a low ticket. And so now I'm looking at, okay, well, what's the low ticket offer going to be based on everything that's been happening these first 2 phases? And what does it look like to shift my messaging and my sales angle, my content a little bit to start to invite people into this now? And it's all experimenting and playing, and also like what's lighting your heart up, and your energy that you bring to it gets transferred through that phone and people can feel it. So we're looking at all of those components as you go from like, okay, we're going to do this first and then this and then this. And then you're always going to shift and reevaluate and move as you look at the insights. Does that help?
Yeah. And I think because I'll post Crazy Town for a few weeks when I'm promoting an event, and then I fall off for 2 weeks. So like,
Yes.
yeah. So I think, yeah, at least, like you said, maybe, and this is where I've been churning in my head is like, okay, I need to stop promoting events per se, or not stop, but I mean, like, my messaging needs to be more consistently around my brand and not just events. And I think that's going to be a big shift for me, just creating that brand for myself, for Instagram, and for my customers,
Yes. Yeah. And that was one of the things that I really noticed when I challenged myself with creating consistent content was I had to rethink everything, because I tend to be super perfectionist. And then also I would do the same thing. I'm really consistent with my emails and my social when I'm selling, when I'm launching, and then I get so wrapped up into delivering after cart closes that I let the social media and emailing go by the wayside, and it wasn't supporting my business to be operating that way. So I've had to challenge myself and say, how do I do both simultaneously? How do I serve clients and create this organic content at the same time? And there's so many mindset shifts that go into that, especially as you're starting to create new and different content. Like, you're going to find, just like what I described before, like I'll have this thought of like something to do, and then the ego comes in and it's like, don't do that. And then the perfectionism comes in of like, you can't say that. It doesn't make sense. And so I've really had to challenge myself to like strip all of that away. And just, if an idea flows through, trust my intuition, trust it, create it. I've started to set a timer and I give myself 30 minutes to create it. Whether that be the reel and writing the caption, or the graphics for a post with the caption. It's like, I got 30 minutes, because I was noticing I would take 2 hours to make one reel. And I'm like, I can't. So maybe in the beginning, it does take you 2 hours because you're learning the tech and you're getting familiar with the settings and what happens when I hit this and I want to change this. How do I do that? Which is also, I think, will be fun working with people in this new program, because when that comes up for you, you could like Vox for me and be like, hey, Jen, how do you do this? But eventually you learn the tech and you get that down. And then you're like, okay, how do I get more efficient and faster with this? So there's all of these pieces that you'll come up with as you, with anything, do something new that's going to challenge the status quo. Yeah. Okay, so I want you guys to leave with your sales angle. This is going to be so fun. And then I'll talk to you about the program. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go one by one. And I want you to tell me what's one thing that your soulmate client is doing that's a mistake, or one thing that they're thinking and believing that's wrong.
For me, I'm an energy healer. So people think that have pains or aches, whether chronic or acute, they think either this is it, I have to learn to live with that. What they don't know is that it's basically a stuck energy. And if they realize what's the root, and then they'll be able to release the stuck energy and feel a whole lot better, and the pain can disappear.
Yeah. Okay. I got an idea for you. And I'm focusing mostly on reels, with sprinkling in some posts. So I didn't mention that, but like the content mix matters as well. And we're just seeing that reels are the ones that are getting pushed out to the Explore page more so than posts. So we'll start with a reel.
Reel is just reels is like 1 minute, not longer than 1 minute, or can it be longer?
The max is 90 seconds.
Okay.
And what I've been creating to start off with is like no more than 10 seconds. So it's B-roll footage of me like at my desk. The one I'm going to post today, I'm doing yoga. Like, it's just, I kind of take my tripod and my phone with me everywhere now. Talk about new habits, right? I'm like, I'll film myself do that. I'll film myself do that, And then I have a whole library of short video clips. I just take that and I put a trending audio on it. I've got a system for finding trending audios and saving them, because that helps push out your content. And I make the reel. And so it's really just like TikTok. It's Instagram's answer to short form video. So it's also kind of like a story in a way. It's very similar to Instagram stories, because you can put text on top of it, add music to it. It's very, very similar, except for it's going to live on your feed. So I can see you having a reel, and the text is, when you discover your chronic pain isn't actually chronic. Let me tell you more in the caption. And then you direct them to the caption where you're like, most clients, when they come to me, think that they have to live with their pain for forever. But the truth is, the root of your pain is energetic. And we can shift it energetically. And then you can tell your story, or you can tell a client story, or you can give the 3 steps. Here's the 3 steps to shift it energetically. Now we just came up with 3 different posts, right? And the caption's a little bit different, but it's the same message. You know what I mean? So maybe even on the reel, it's like 3 steps to heal your chronic pain through energy. Check out the caption. So we'll take this one idea.
What's a caption? Sorry, what's a caption?
Yeah, so the caption is what goes in, I don't know how to describe it. So it doesn't.
Is it like a link there I have to, or there's no links on
It's just like your Facebook post. So you'll have a Facebook post that's like a picture or a graphic or something, and then you write something about it, like a note.
That's the caption?
With it, that's the caption.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So in your caption, you can go deeper. But the other thing we want to do as well is we want to direct people from the reel into the caption, because what happens on Instagram is it knows if somebody clicks to read the full caption, it knows if they're scrolling to read it all the way to the end. And simultaneously, what's happening is your reel video keeps looping in the background, and it keeps chalking up views. And then Instagram goes, wow, people are hanging out here. They're reading the caption. They're saving this. Actually, they're sharing it. Okay, maybe we can push this out more. But I will say, I believe it takes 30, 60, 90 days of consistently doing this for the algorithm for you to train the algorithm for it to learn about you and your account. Because I'm noticing as I study all these people who are doing this, that they start to notice big shifts around that 3-month mark, 4-month mark. So it's a little bit of a long game. It's not going to happen overnight. And so that's another reason why I'm like, we've got to approach it with the mindset of, I'm really proud of myself that I'm showing up and I'm creating consistent content. And that's the win for me right now, because I don't necessarily see it in my bank account just yet, but I trust that it's coming,
Yeah.
Okay. So
Thank you.
I love that angle for you. Okay. Who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Yes.
So I guess the thing I think that my soulmate clients are missing or thinking right now is they think something is wrong with them because they can't manage their homes. But the truth is, we're never meant to manage this much stuff. They think that another thing, or watching the home edit and getting some clear organizing bins and doing something in rainbow order, is going to help them have a less stressful life and a more calm environment. But really, we just can't manage the volume, and they're not supposed to be able to do that. And if they start removing things, they will notice an incredible shift in like the amount of time and energy and stress they feel.
Yeah. I keep going back to that Simplicity Parenting book that I shared with you, because it does such a great job of giving you all of the reasoning and the facts and the data and the research behind what you just said is actually true. And so as you said that, the first thing that came to my mind is the data and the research. And I don't know how much that is interesting to you, but I want to see, like, the research shows we're not equipped or universally divinely designed to handle this much stuff. And it's leading to anxiety. It's leading to ADD and ADHD. Like, there's so much studies and research, and it really drives home. This is not a nice to have. this is a must have. We have to be clearing out our stuff. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I want you to bring that energy. Like, this isn't just something cute and fun we're going to do. It's like, this is going to radically change your mental well-being, the family well-being, right? And the dynamics between the family. So if we're going to, that's like a big angle. And then there's like 100,000 different ways we could tackle that. But if we
Mhm.
want to get like really specific for like one post, I want to see like a montage reel of lots of little B-roll clips of you decluttering and organizing. And maybe you shoot that over like a week in preparation of, I know this reel is going to go up on Monday and it's going to slam. And it's a overview, or it's a voiceover. I mean, it's a voiceover of you speaking essentially what you said, but then giving us the very specific details of what the end result is. So it's a very clear customer arc story. So
Okay.
here was the problem before. I realized it was related to, I was just never designed to manage this much stuff. So I took this step, and here's what life looks like now on the other side for me. And I want to hear your brand story, essentially. I want to hear your character arc. And then we can like really play with all of the other details of, we're letting people know that this is a must have for the well-being of their life and their family unit. Yeah,
Cool. Thanks.
cool. You're welcome. All right, Miss Sarah.
Alrighty. So with my focus this year in helping couples reconnect on a more intimate level, through somatic healing as well as other practices, I think what I wrote, I forget how you actually phrased the question, but so like it's harder, it takes more time or money to invest in reconnecting with my mate than it actually does. Like they just think it's harder or more time consuming than it actually can be to start the reconnection process with little practices, touching, eye gazing, silence, conscious, connected, intimate time building blocks throughout their day and their week that create that deeper, long lasting healing and actually wash away a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah,
To put it bluntly, so
I love it. So I've got 3 things off the bat that are coming up for me. Number 1, well, I hope I remember them all. I should have wrote them down. What is somatic healing? I need you to educate me on what the fuck that even is. I don't know.
you want me to answer that right now, or that's just the question?
No.
Okay.
That's your thing. The second piece is 5 intimacy practices that you can do in under 5 minutes a day. So you're like, I already know they're using time as an excuse to not do this. So let me give them 5 things that take less than 5 minutes. Like, you're going to tell me you can't spend 5 minutes of your day to connect with your partner. Then we've got a bigger issue going on. Maybe you don't really want to connect with your partner. We've got bigger issues that we need to talk about then. Like, I also feel as I tap into your energy that there is that spicy sauciness to you that wants to be unleashed, because I want to hear you call people out.
Mm-hmm.
Because the third thing that came up for me is that's a bullshit excuse.
Yeah.
That I don't have the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, then is this not important to you? You know, if it isn't important to you, then I'm not the person for you. Go read a book, go find something else. Like, there are some people that can say that with so much love. And like, this is you, Sarah. You are full of so much love. Your heart is wide open. People know that and feel that. So you can be a little saucy and ruffle some feathers and call people out without them being like, wow, she's, you know what? She's
Yeah.
big, you know, like some people can get away with it and some people
Yeah.
can't. like that. Do you sense that about yourself, that there's like this fiery that wants to just be like, come on, people?
No, I love that because that's what's been coming out in this past year in this work, and when you said that, like, that's a bullshit excuse. The thing I wrote down underneath that is, what are you scared of?
Right.
Because intimacy is hard,
Yes.
especially if you feel like you're disconnected from the one person that should, be in there with you. But,
Right.
but yeah, that sauciness of, it's like, it doesn't have to be about sex, but it could be, like there is that, like, where's the block?
Mhm.
And yeah, so yeah, there could be a lot coming in just in answering that, what is somatic healing? There's a ton in that. I think I've just
Yeah.
created my freebie.
There you go. Because also I think that would be another really powerful angle, is like you asking them, what's the block? And then maybe there's a piece of like how we uncover your intimacy block, and then do you want to uncover your intimacy block? Take my quiz to find out what your block is, or download this journal where you can do the inner work and the introspection to identify the block. And then it's like, well, once they've done that, then what do they get invited into with you to help clear that block? And then I can see another post. Oh my gosh, so much is flowing through for you. I can see another post of like, once you've identified it, here's 5 ways to clear it. There's just so much juiciness there. And also, I have a funny feeling that your niche is going to blow up too. Either this year or next year, or you're already starting to see that happen, where people are craving intimacy. They've been on the dating apps for so long, and they're just meeting person after person with no depth. And they're leaving relationships because they think that the grass is greener on the other side. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. Like, single life is not what I thought it would be. Like, there's just so much of that happening now. And I think you can speak to that too. You can speak to the world at large. Yeah.
I think since that is my story, and I knew I was doing this work for a year before I found my current boyfriend, and he is everything. I joke and tell about time. I'm like, I manifested you, right?
Yes.
I'm like, I got all the journals and all these, like, I brought you to me. You existed as a human before, but so there's so much in our story of it's 4 months. I get that. But that's how long we've been together. But everything is like, we try to be so intentional with stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's, in a way, whether you've been together for 20 years or you've been through failed relationships, when you decide to consciously connect with somebody, like, it's, it's reconnection or it's connection. So yeah, I think there's a lot in my story that can fill in everything that you just gave me too. So
yeah, share more of that, how you manifested him and what your relationship looks like. And you can do that in a way that protects his privacy,
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah. And you're right. I do think I see a lot more of it coming out now. I think there's a calling back into divine feminine, divine masculine, energy.
Right.
And that can look a lot of different ways and all sorts of different kinds of couples, but it'll serve people in every area of their life too. So my focus is the couple, but the side stuff will be how that serves other areas of your life too. You'll be a better mother, better father, better coworker.
Yeah.
When you've done this kind of work for yourself and for your couple, or for your partner. So
yeah, there's so much juiciness in there. Because even you can speak to the divine feminine, the divine masculine aspects in an intimate relationship, and what is each one's job and how does each one support the other. Like, there's just so much. So if we were going to do something together, I would want to start with those brand pillars for you, so that we're creating consistency. So it's not like one day she's talking about this and the next day she's talking about this, and it's like, what? She's all over the place. Like, there's got to be that thread that is woven through each of the pieces, And that's definitely where you should start.
Yeah.
You already know that. You said that out loud
Yeah.
already.
And
Okay.
but it's great reflection and validation. So I appreciate your insight into all of that, because I was swirling a little bit, like I know I'm in the right tornado. I just don't know like how to see through the eye of the
Right.
storm at the moment. So
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad. And I hope you guys were all really supported with that experience of looking at different angles and how we take those knowings that are already within you and then turn it into really compelling content. And that's my vision for this program. So I'm going to be doing it with 3 people. And I always do things privately first and then massage them and turn them into maybe something else later down the road, because I want to be in it with you. So this is a private one-on-one container where we essentially are going to be doing everything that I just laid out. So we'll focus on the insights, the intimacy, the income, and we'll be looking at the 7 components that make up that cohesive passive income on Instagram funnel. So we're installing that into your business over the course of roughly, I would say, 90 days plus 2 weeks is my goal. So we've got a couple different milestones that we're going to hit. So the first milestone is coming up with what is your overarching Instagram strategy. So I'm going to do a deep dive into your business and we're going to have a call together where we really look at what is your aligned offer suite right now, the offers, the price points, what's the lead magnet. If you don't have one, I can help you with coming up with ideas and support you in you creating that. I also want to look at your email nurture sequences. Again, if you don't have those, I've got templates that can support you and then I can review what you've written, but I'm going to be reviewing what's happening in your business. Then once I know all of that, we'll come up with what's the overarching strategy of what we're doing on Instagram, tied to financial goals, tied to how much time you want to be spending creating content, really kind of laying down the roadmap of this is what we're going to do for the next 90 days together. And then once that happens, and I'm giving myself 2 weeks, but we'll see how long it actually takes. So that's 2 weeks, your first milestone. Then we move into the second milestone, which is 3 months of coaching and brainstorming content with you. So we'll meet twice a month. And the first meeting that we have, we'll do essentially what we just did together, right? We're going to look at your messaging angles. We're going to look at what you're promoting that month. We're going to create a calendar of 30 posts, or maybe you're like, I'm doing 5 a day. Okay, so 20 posts or 5 a week, I mean, so we'll figure out what that cadence is going to be, and we'll come up with what is your real hook. What is, I want to have written at the very least what goes on your reel, maybe what video goes with it or something like that. And then I think we'll have time to write a couple captions together as well. But you'll leave that call with your month calendar of like, this is all of the things that I'm saying and doing for this month on Instagram. And then I'll have another call with you midway through the month where we do a check-in and we look at the insights and we look at the data and we talk about this is working for me, this isn't working for me, here's what I've learned about the process, here's where I need support, all of those pieces. Because like I said, anytime we do a new habit, we're going to have those mindset shifts that need to occur, and you're going to be changing the way that you spend your time. And so stuff's going to inevitably come up. So I'm really looking at this as like a VIP day meets strategic coaching meets private coaching and mentorship. It's like all 3 rolled into one. The other thing I'll say that I forgot to mention is in that first phase, that first milestone, I'm also going to be creating your ManyChat automations and recording what I'm doing so you have the trainings so you can do it moving forward. Or in the future, what I would love for each and every one of you is by the time you're done in this container, you're going to have processes, you're going to have SOP documents, you're going to have training videos, you're going to have all of the things of what it takes to run your Instagram funnel that you can then hand off to a VA or an assistant or somebody who can do the automations for you, who can change up your storefront. So I'll create your storefront for you. Like they can handle some of those pieces. Maybe they can handle graphic creation and reel cover creation. And, you know, maybe you now have somebody that comes in and helps you once a day, a month to film all your B-roll video with you, you know, like we'll have all of that established by the end of the 90 days. So you can take this and run with it. Like you'll be good. We'll also talk about story strategies, and you'll leave too with a real video shot list and a content batching schedule. So I really want to support you with the implementation, because the last thing I want is to have this beautiful strategy and these beautiful content calendars and then be like, oh, nothing's getting done, you know, like we can't have that. So that's where that support comes in. I think that's everything. I'm just checking my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, essentially we're building your passive income on Instagram funnel for daily leads, weekly sales. And there's that huge energetic, intuitive piece too, with those monthly brainstorming sessions to come up with your content so that the content is compelling and high converting and doing what we need it to do on the platform. So any questions about that?
So when you say Instagram funnel, are you literally talking about everything what we talked about, or would that be like also having to get Kajabi? Like, so I have a website where I have all my events hosted that have the payment, and I have email and all that, but it's not Kajabi.
That's really all you need. Like you need a checkout, which the storefront also helps you with that. So you might be able to move some of that to the link in bio storefront. People can purchase directly from the storefront. But yeah, we'll figure that out because that's part of the sales system investigating that we're going to do. And, you know, you might end up having Kajabi if you're creating a course or something like that. But you don't have to have that yet. I feel like that might be more of a phase 2 for you.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot that my website people can do, but it's a smaller group. It's somebody that you know too, or you may know. I forget because she's been to some of the events we've been to. But yeah, I'm open to that down the road, but I would love to do as much as I can without, because I just redid the website last summer. So but
yeah, you wouldn't have to redo that. And even if like we're promoting single sessions or your private coaching packages and things like that, like we could literally just send them to a Calendly page, or they can buy that directly from your link in bio storefront. And then that system, after they make the purchase, kicks them out to Calendly to book a time on your calendar. Like we should be able to do it with all of the current ways that you're selling and accepting cash, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk investment. The investment for this is $6,000 or 4 payments of $1,500 at each milestone. So $1,500 to kick us off, and then we'll do $1,500 at the beginning of each month for those second milestone months. And normally, just for comparison, coaching with me is $2,000 a month. So it's a $6,000 investment because I do a minimum of 3 months, but it doesn't include any done for you. It includes my material review, but it doesn't include like me doing all of some of this heavy lifting in the beginning for you, coming up with that strategy and writing stuff for you and things like that. So if I continue to offer this after the first 3 people, if I'm like really loving this, I would probably bump it up and have a goal of it being like a 10 to 12K offer. And I think if you went to an agency for something like this, you're going to easily pay that. But I feel like with the agencies, they struggle on the intimacy part of the equation. because they're just not gonna get into your business as deeply as I can working with 3 people because they're working with, 30, who knows how many. So that's where the pricing came from. I felt like 6,000 all in, or we can break it up. I'm not going to add any financing to it. We can break it up so it's those 4 equal payments of 1,500 to have this all built out for you, with the goal of let's generate some cash in these months that we're together. What are our low-hanging fruit and quick win? And then how do you keep exponentially growing it as you keep this going for years and years to come in your business? And I have 3 spots open. I have one existing client who said, can I change and start doing this with you? And so she changed, and I said, yeah, we can do that. So she took the first spot, but I'm like, I was already working with her, so I'm still going to say I have 3 spots for this open. Any questions on anything else that we chatted about today?
No, this is good stuff. This is really, really
Good.
good. Yeah.
Good. And I hope that your intention that you set at the beginning, that you're going to walk away with the one thing that you needed to know to make this work for you, really landed. That's my goal.
Mhm.
And if you're interested in moving forward with me for this, just email me or shoot me a DM. If you want me to send you all of what I talked about in detail, send me an email, because I had a couple women say, I just need it all written out. So I can send it to you in email if you'd like. So just stay in touch with me. And regardless, I would love to hear from you either way of how was this scaling session experience for you? And where's your head at afterwards? Because that's just going to help me as I go and do more of these potentially. So let's stay in touch as you think about it. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Sound good?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Sending
Thank
you
you,
all
Right,
so
Jen.
much
much.
Thank you so much
love.
for your
Thank you
time.